Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about target switching. If you haven't seen the previous episodes of this series, we've talked about static and dynamic clicking and smooth and reactive tracking. So if you've missed those parts, you can check out my channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about target switching and specifically speed target switching. So what is target switching? In target switching, you move your crosshair really quickly between two or more targets. Target switching is what makes a lot of clips and aim montages look so insane, because people snap onto multiple targets really fast. In target switching, damage uptime is really important. In most of these scenarios, you're constantly holding left mouse button while switching between all these targets. Target switching requires a base level of the other techniques of aiming, like clicking and tracking. For target acquisition, you need to be able to flick accurately onto the target like you would with static clicking. Then in order to stay on the target, you need to have smooth tracking skills in speed target switching, as the targets move at a slow and predictable pace. And you need to have a high accuracy to actually stay on the target. So why should you try to improve at target switching? Target switching is an essential form of aiming, just like clicking and tracking, and it actually combines skills of the previous two in order to be good at target switching. In every single game, you will need to be able to switch between targets, whether that's a slower paced tactical FPS like CSGO or Valorant. You can think about spray transfers when multiple enemies rush you, or in Valorant if you get peeked from two angles and you have to tap both targets. But target switching is most visible in low time to kill games. You can think of games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and even PUBG, where you can see really sick montages of target switching. So what are the optimal settings for target switching? You will often see people play at a higher FOV, where clicking and tracking is usually done on 103 FOV Overwatch. Target switching is usually done at the max FOV, which is 120, but you also see people use 110 or somewhere in between. People also use a faster sensitivity between 25 to 40 centimeters per 360 for target switching. So typically the recommended settings for target switching high scores are a 120 FOV and a high sense, because it's mostly about speed. However, I play on 103 FOV Overwatch and my 49.5 centimeters per 360. And I've reached Nova in both target switching scenarios, so it is definitely possible to reach the top ranks with your own preferable settings, but I do want to let you know what is recommended if you want to get better at target switching. So let's talk about technique. The technique I use for target switching is a combination of all the skills that I've learned from clicking and tracking. I do fast flicks between the targets with either my arm or my wrist, depending on how close the targets are. And I do a micro adjustment with my wrist or fingertips. This all depends on your sense and how fast or how slow the sense is, of course. I use my tracking skills from smooth tracking to stay on the target, as speed target switching scenarios typically have predictable, slower moving targets. I use my peripheral vision to decide which target I'm going for next. I pretty much always go for the target that's closest to the one I'm currently on. You need to be smooth, as you can get punished for it in some scenarios if your aim is shaky. You may think that speed target switching is all about speed, but accuracy actually matters a lot. You may not get punished for having a low accuracy because you're constantly holding left mouse button, but if you miss a lot of targets, or you miss the initial flick, or can't keep up smoothly with the target, you miss a lot of time that you could have moved on to different clusters of targets. Target switching is kind of like dynamic clicking, except you're constantly holding your left mouse button, and the time it takes to kill the bot is kind of like smooth tracking in speed target switching. So it's a combination between dynamic clicking and smooth tracking. Try moving your mouse as little as possible. And what I mean by that is always go for the closest target or the closest clusters of targets. It may seem self-explanatory, but don't constantly flick from the left to the right side of the screen. Try to go for the closest targets. There's different types of speed target switching scenarios. One of the most common ones is sky target switch, which is a big room with rather smaller dots that move extremely slowly in a left to right horizontal pattern. They spawn on different vertical levels, and they are usually placed more in the back of the room. There's some target switch, where the targets are spawning a little bit closer to you. They're larger than the sky target switching bots, but they also move a lot faster. Then there's the pad target switching scenarios, where the bots are typically stationary and you're switching onto stationary bots as fast as possible. These can come in forms where you never have to reload, or where you have to reload if you miss a certain amount of shots. And then there's also the pokeball or auto frenzy scenarios, which are basically static scenarios where you're constantly holding left mouse button. So what scenarios and what playlist would I recommend you to try out? So for the types of scenarios, I will once again link the spreadsheet from the Voltaic community in my description, where you can see the recommended KovaaK scenarios by the Voltaic community for speed target switching. You can pick your own scenarios you like, pick different types of scenarios as well, and put together your own playlist. Then for playlist, first of all, there is a Voltaic issue-specific speed target switching playlist that you can play. You can also find this by going to the Voltaic Discord in resources, and then either find KovaaKs or AimLab resources. There's a really good target switcher in the Voltaic community called Viscose. She also has a speed target switching playlist that I will link the code of. And there's also the Gore speed target switching playlist, which I thought was very good. So I will link those in the description. And that was it for the speed target switching guide. Next week we'll be moving on to evasive target switching, and that will be the last part of this series already. So if you're looking forward to that video, please subscribe to the channel so that you will get a notification when I upload new guides. Leave a like if this was helpful for you. As always, you can leave a comment down below if you want to ask any personalized questions about your aim training journey, or you can drop by my channel on twitch.tv/Valkie_ and ask me any questions while I'm live streaming on Twitch. So good luck with your aim training, and I hope to see you next week.